What's up everybody, welcome back to another Rad and Dad channel video, or welcome if it's your first time. Either way, very glad to have you. Roll that intro and let's put some frame sliders on.
Riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a
Alright, so obviously Woodcraft frame sliders. The frame sliders are going to go here on at least the MT07. I think pretty much all the MT lines. How that's going to happen? First, why? I guess if you don't know what frame sliders are, they're basically a sacrificial piece of plastic, usually called a Delrin puck. That's the material they're made out of. Harleys have them. I had a crash bar on my Lowrider S that had the Delrin pucks, on the end of it. If you stunt, you want a full crash cage, or at least like a race cage or something like Impact Tech makes. I'm not gonna stunt this bike. Even if I wanted to, I am god awful at it, so I would need like a whole bubble around me and the bike. But basically, you're gonna want crash protection. Drops, weird stuff happens, guys. Just you're at a gas station, you wind up slipping on some gas or oil that's on the ground and you wind up down on the bike. Just weird, stupid stuff that could be a 5 seconds of embarrassment and pick up kind of drop of the bike. Now without frame sliders becomes damage, scraped plastics. Doesn't really apply to these bikes because this is a plastic cover, but scratched up, broken light, depending on the bike, just a whole bunch of stuff that is not worth it. It's just a pain in the butt to deal with. So you want frame sliders. So how these frame sliders are going to install is we're going to take the stock engine mount bolt off, which is 17. Let me just triple check. I already got, yeah, it's a 17 millimeter engine bolt. We're going to put this frame slider in, or not that, this is the frame slider mount basically. We're going to put this in using the included bolts from Woodcraft, which are 10 millimeters. Once those are in, this is going to be the sacrificial puck that you can get more of, right? This is plastic, so this is going to fit over that, and then you're going to use this bolt to hold that in. These are replaceable. Lots of different companies make them. My specific recommendation, based on everything I see and everything I've dealt with in the past, is to not get the ones that are like triangular shaped and hexagonal and all these weird different shapes. Those all have points, those all have potential spots that are gonna nick. Just get a rounded off, just like a puck, basically. In my experience and everything that I've seen and watched and everything, those are the best option for you. Now, just because you have frame sliders on, even a crash cage, does that mean that your bike's never gonna get damaged no matter what kind of crash you're in or whatever? No, absolutely not. But a little goes a long way in terms of protection, and I'd rather spend, I don't know what these, I'll put the link obviously in the description and everything, but these were not that expensive. I think they were maybe 70 or 80 bucks, maybe 100, something around there. But if it keeps my bike from getting scratched up in the unfortunate event that I do ever drop it, worth it. Now, also something to note, if you don't know me, or if you've never seen my videos before, I almost never do torque specs unless it's engine specific or something that, in my mind at least, is a very important thing to do torque spec on. Now, because this bolt is going into the engine case, this is something I'm going to do the torque specs with. Now, Woodcraft specifically says in the directions, the engine mount bolt that they supply that we're going to reuse, right, says 55 foot-pounds of torque if the bolt is dry. We're not going to use the dry foot-pounds of torque measurement because we're going to do wet. We're going to use some Loctite because I love Loctite. So we're going to do 45 foot-pounds of torque if it's Loctite now, or if you're using Loctite, that's the torque spec. Now, for us, I have a bad experience with torque specs in the past. I have almost like a PTSD scar on them, so I set my torque wrench to 40. Given how that feels, I might not even go the full 5. I might just come back at it. But this is something that I'm actually also not going to be using the impact wrench for, or well, I say that now. Hopefully I don't have to use it. I do have my breaker bar to get me some leverage, but I'm gonna move you guys closer. We'll install this and I don't know, hopefully it's a pretty simple, easy install. And I do have my bike up on the rear axle stand, or not the rear swing arm stand. You don't need that. It just makes it easier, especially for videoing purposes, to get it out of that slant area and at a right angle. And it's easy for me to move the bike around for when I do the other side. So let's go ahead and attempt the bolt removal. I'm gonna hold on to something just so the bike doesn't move. Oh, that was actually a lot easier than I figured it was gonna be. All right. All right, so we're gonna put this is the part that the Delrin slider moves, fits over. So the bolt is gonna go through there. And we are gonna put some Loctite on it. Now, Woodcraft specifically states in their directions, which I knew to begin with, that your engine bolts are a relatively fine pitch thread, so they're very easy to strip. So they recommend going in by hand first, which honestly, with most of the stuff, you should be doing by hand first if you're using an impact to begin with. We're not using an impact anyway, but still, good idea to do this instead of a huge ratcheting, socket extension or something crazy. Something also to note, the orientation, I guess the best word, the orientation of these holes. All right, so this puck slider is going to fit in over that. The bolt is gonna go through, to me, the bottom. We're gonna set this at the bottom. Actually, I guess it should be the top. I don't know, because the logo suggests that it would be the bottom. Yeah, the logo suggests that it would be the bottom, so we are gonna do the bottom and just hope that it doesn't come. We're gonna do some Loctite and stuff, so it should be okay. So the bolt is gonna go through the bottom and it's gonna go up through the top, so we need to make sure that this is oriented in a manner, and it is gonna probably turn when we turn it, a little bit more, so try to get a head start on where you wanna orient that. Here's the torque. Again, we've set it to, oh, it actually doesn't want to move. Look at that. All right, so let's back it off a little bit and we'll put it straight up and down as best as we can eyeball it here. And let's start torquing her down. All right, so it hit 40 very easy, so we are going to do the full 45. There's the 5. All right, there's 5. Back it off. We're just gonna do it one more time just to double check. All right, didn't really move at all, 45. Perfect, now it's time to put the slider on. There you go, and again, we are gonna Loctite the bolt for the slider. And this is something I forgot to grab this is the one that is 5 millimeters, but I did also forget to grab a smaller ratchet for this. So I guess we're still gonna use the other one. All right, I lied, we can't use the other one because I forgot it's in 1/2 inch and these are in 3/8. So I went and got my 3/8. You'll look at the bottom, you'll see there's a point where it's gonna sit in there flush. It's gonna come through the top. And this is sitting on plastic, so you don't have to go too crazy with it, but you do want to make sure it's nice and snug in there, and you'll be able to see if it ever backs itself out, but it shouldn't, especially on this motor. This is not a Harley, so there you go. One slider completely installed. On to the next side. All right, so the frame sliders are installed. Super easy. Honestly, they don't really stand out that much. Now, if you know what you're looking for, you can very clearly see that they're on a bike, clearly see the brand and everything, but they don't look outwardly non-stock or modified or anything like that. So if you're looking for like a clean kind of install, that's great. These freaking, I absolutely hate these stock front lights. Every time you bump them, they get out of place, but it's okay. We got a fix coming for that in a few videos also. So please let me know what you guys think. In the links, or in the description, there's links for everything, playlist build series for this bike, the bike over there, the other bikes I've had in the past, my future bikes, everything. Product link for this will be in the description, coupon codes for other stuff I got, everything, my Instagram, TikTok, etc. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Until the next time, ride safe, have fun. Dad out.